Today's chat is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/FFC. With over 180,000 titles to choose from, your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player, this is a great alternative for keeping up with the monthly Focus Fire Book Club.
Welcome to Focus Fire Chat. Explore together.
Welcome back for episode 101 of Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on September 15th, 2017 over on twitch.tv/Focus Fire Chat. Big shout out to the live chat here. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. This is your host, Blue Crew 86. Justin had to take the night off due to a last minute change in schedule, so be sure to send him some snack love over on Twitter at JustinSane0516. And also be sure to let Mel know we miss her over on Twitter at The Wind of the Stars. She had to work tonight, so we promised that we would try to not have too much fun. But from the depths of the madness-inducing mind maps, we are joined by our favorite Gunter, the one and only Green-Eyed Music Lover. Green, hope you're doing well. You looking forward to tonight's two-person chat?
Yeah, we did a chat just right before this, and we're doing a chat now, and it's going to be great.
Oh, yes, and sorry, in live chat, yes, we are bombarding Justin with gifts.
Oh, yeah, definitely go after
it. Doesn't have to be tonight. It can be at any point in time. So
when you listen to this, just hashtag it.
Just do it.
How should we hashtag this? We should hashtag it so he knows
Snake
it's
love.
from tonight.
FFC Snake Love. Snake Love. SNEK Love. You can spell it however you want. But yes, just bombard him. So, all right, let's run through the intro real quick, of course, and then we'll get right into it. The topic of today's chat is going to be a look at some of our first impressions of Destiny 2. Before we get into that, however, I do have a few housekeeping notes. In our last chat, we got to hear our favorite memories of the first 100 episodes of this crazy adventure. If you missed that and have any interest in hearing our thoughts, please be sure to check out the new www.focusfirechat.com for archives of all previous chats, links to other aspects of Focus Fire Chat out in the internets, and a growing collection of community articles. If you don't mind, please give us some feedback on iTunes to let us know how we're doing, as well as helping us continue to grow. As many of you already know, Focus Fire Chat is a cross-community gathering where the intent is to offer a week-long, in-depth view of a particular subject from within the lore of Destiny and other games. This chat begins every Tuesday morning and runs until the following Tuesday, with topics decided by the group via a poll that begins every Friday and ends on the Tuesday morning of the new chat. Every Friday at about 10 p.m. Central, we get together to stream a recap of the previous week's chats for those who are unable to participate. Please be sure to also give some support to the other podcasts in the Guardian Radio Network, found at theguardiansofdestiny.com. These include Guardian Radio, the first and longest-running Destiny podcast on the net, Guardian 1, Ghost and Echoes, which also has the Destiny audio grimoire from Destiny 1, and the network's newest edition, a non-Destiny-focused podcast, Paragon Radio. We'll be taking next week off due to my being out of town for some business, but be sure to weigh in on the poll this weekend to let us know what topic y'all are wanting to dig into first. Links to that poll can be found on either Twitter or within our Discord server. For now, though, let's chat about our thoughts and our first initial reactions to Destiny 2.
All right. So, what kind of things do we think we're going to get into on this one? All the things. I don't even know what we're going to talk about because I haven't finished the campaign, but we will talk about it. Okay. Well, I finished the campaigns and I'm working on all the side quests now, so I think we're okay.
Okay, cool. And I'm sure chat will let us fill in any spots that we get wrong. They usually are pretty good about that.
Oh yeah, or missing. There's lots of things.
There's lots of things.
All the things. So, okay. I want to say, first off the bat, that as far as the lore in the game, I do miss the grimoire just because of the accessibility of it and that sounds really funny, but how easy it was to look up things that you didn't necessarily run into. But I am happy about the type of stuff that they have put in game. So I would say, as far as whether or not I gave it like a grade for Bungie, I would give Bungie a good solid A, not quite an A+, because I would love to have it out of game too, but that's what our Gunters are for. What do you think, as far as lore in game or out of game?
I think it cracks me up because I had written all this stuff down on my notes, and then Bife actually put it out in a video. So I'm going to feel like I feel like I'm actually copying everything Bife said, but I'm not. But I kind of am. He made a he gave, well, yeah, I mean, he said it first, so I'll give him kudos for getting things out faster than I can do, because that, but anyways, he said that, you know, and I really think I agree with everything he said in this video. And I think the biggest complaint that I have, which, to put it in perspective, is not a big complaint, is kind of what you're saying. I actually think that they missed an opportunity to really kind of present a really well-rounded picture. Because what I think is that this is an amazing move and it's a great move in the right direction from a PvE standpoint. Most of people who have been around know that PvE is pretty much how it's going to be my bread and butter. Like, that is what keeps me interested in a game. That's what keeps me going. And it's not just story. Like, by no means is it just story. It's mechanics. Like, the mechanics need to be really well done. I'm a huge RPG player, and I gotta be honest, like, half the reason I'm not done with the campaign is because I keep getting sidetracked. I'm really bad about, like, so most of you know I'm a huge Skyrim fan. I played the game for close to about 1,500 hours before I even finished the campaign in Skyrim, because it's an open world.
Right.
It's like I finished the first mission in Skyrim, and then I was like, oh, look, a bear, and it just was downhill from there. And it was kind of like it was kind of like that for me with Destiny 2. Like, I finished the primary mission, the mission basically that you unlocked, the EDZ, and like, I landed, and the very first thing I saw was the little rainbows for the Lost Sector. Now, and I knew going in that the Lost Sectors were going to be a huge kind of draw for me. I thought that was like, it's just an awesome idea. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And it didn't fail. Like, I'm blown away with just, like, it's not 100% seamless. I'm not expecting it to be 100% seamless. But, like, the sense of, I can mark the main mission so that I'm working my way towards that main mission, but at the same time I can hit patrols, I can hit, public events, I can hit all these things in the same instance. It makes me feel like I'm actually involved in the world, like, from a PvE standpoint.
Yeah, it definitely feels more like a real MMO rather than spawning in for specific missions. I mean, you kind of still get that a little bit once you do your quest.
I mean, you kind of do, but at the same time, like, the thing for me is that, like, I can spawn into. Well, my biggest complaint with Destiny from a PvE standpoint, from a player standpoint, was that, like, in order for me to do patrols, let's say, I had to specifically load in on a patrol instance. Whereas if I was doing a mission or a bounty, well, even bounties, I guess, were patrols technically, but, like, story missions, it was a completely 100% separate instance, really. I mean, there were some bleed over, but for the most part, it was a separate instance. And I always kind of had, like, it was very siloed feeling, and this just doesn't have that. Like, I feel like everything is the same thing. Like, I love it. I really from a mechanic standpoint, I'm in absolute love with it. It's everything that I appreciate in a PvE game from a mechanic standpoint, and it's a first person shooter, which I'm a huge fan of that to begin with. I think it really is the best of both worlds. Now that being said, could there be some tweaks? Yes. One of my biggest things, from again coming from Skyrim, I don't like the fact that like I can't place an arbitrary marker on my map, which seems really weird, but like I kind of want to be able to be like, if I open up my map and I see that there's a lost sector across the way or a region's chest, whatever. I wish I could place like a freestanding way marker. Just because to me, that's just a quality of life thing that I'm used to from RPGs. I did that a lot in Skyrim. Like, this general area is going to have X, and so you need to be there, but you don't want to it's annoying to have to constantly open up your map and bounce back and forth.
I could see them actually adding that later.
Possibly. Oh yeah. No. And that's the thing is like these next few things I totally could see being added later on. The other big thing, and this is one of the things that Bife was saying as well, is that so like if we go into our menu and for chat for stream, I'm going to go in there. So like we go in and we see our clan right here, right? When you're in your character, you have your inventory and all that. I think it would be really cool if beyond the clan tab, there was a lore archive of some kind, or just a grimoire in game. Like you don't, I mean, I can see maybe not wanting to use that word because of the connotations or whatever. I don't really have a problem with it, but I can see people having like negative feelings. Right. But like one of the things that, I really actually kind of when I was in the lull of Destiny, when I wasn't really playing Destiny between that and Destiny 2, I picked up Shadows of Mordor. And because it was a game for gold, or no, it was, I don't know, I can't remember if it was a game for gold or if it was like $2. It was one or the other. It was a really if it wasn't the one of the free ones, it was a really cheap one. I think it was a free one. But anyways, one of the things that blew me away with that game was first off, it's an amazing game. So if you haven't played it, I really suggest going and play it. But the cool thing about it is the way they handle the information that they provide you in game. They have like a rotating, basically it's like a Rolodex of like concept art, and then you can hit like a trigger and it'll actually flip the concept art card, and it has like just a like page or two of just information that you can read on that particular thing. And it's got its like segment
load-in screens or
no. It's all in your it's completely 100% accessible whenever you want. And so like you hit start and it's like I'm trying to remember, you hit start and you have either the so like Shadows of Mordor, you have to like it's an evolving world basically. So basically everything you do actually has effects on the world. And so like one of the things is you can target captains of the Dark Army basically. And as you kill the captains, either new ones get promoted or that position remains open so that you can take over the army in other different ways. And one of the things is like, so you have a screen where you can basically target a specific thing or a specific general, and then that will affect your map and it'll tell you like where he is or what, like you can do research on them and all this. It's a really kind of a Assassin's Creed-esque type concept. But then on the flip side of it is like, so you have the mechanics menu, and then it has like this other tab where it's like, basically it's just information. I mean, it's just information. That's all it is. And you can scroll through different, they have different headings, and different stuff. But like, I started playing with it and I was just like, this is an amazing way to present information because it's all there. And if you don't want to read it, okay, cool. Like it doesn't hurt you to not read it. I mean, all the game, because like the game itself is very detailed in the story and all that. But this is like, I mean, they had like a 3-page basically dissertation on the different types of plant life in Middle Earth. Nice. And like, it was just like, it was just really, really kind of, I mean, it was really fascinating stuff.
Granted, they have a huge.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, right. I mean, nothing. Granted, but they had some information that I don't remember. But regardless, the mechanics of the presentation though was what I was like. I was like, this would be amazing in Destiny 2 if they wanted to take the Grimoire from Destiny 1 and just dump it in the game. They don't even have to do anything. Like if they wanted to have some, if they wanted someone, they kind of did, but I mean, take the actual card and put it in a menu. So like you can go into your menu and you can just like go through the cards, and they don't even have to reorganize, because the problem now is like it's not even on Bungie.net. Like you can't. Right. If Ishtar didn't exist, we wouldn't have access to it. That's my only big beef I think I have, and like I said, in hindsight, not a big beef. Like the game is, in my so far from what I've seen, is amazingly fun, smooth to play. I love the presentation from PvE. I continuously hate PvP, but that's nothing new. Like I'm not even going to touch PvP because I'm not a Destiny PvP player. Right. Which I never have been, so that's not like a dig. That's just me being realistic about my approach to PvP. But like PvE, it's just I'm in love with it. I love it. It's amazing.
See, one of the things I thought that they did, I got really excited about, and I've only seen it in one mission so far. I played Fable a lot when Fable was kind of a thing. And Fable had the mechanic of good choice versus not so nice choice. They have a mission. There's an adventure that does that, where it gives you the choice to either slightly kind or not kind. I think that may have been the name of the mission, but it's the one where you're.
It's Cabal. It's like the captain. No, I'm thinking there's a mission apparently where you can choose to save a captain or a knight.
I don't remember that one.
That might be a different one, but because I remember a lot of people talking about it, and it's like you can save the fallen captain from the Hive Knight, or you can kill both of them, or you can just kill the knight or something.
Mm-hmm. There is something like that too, but the one that I was thinking about is you learn about how Cabal, that oozy stuff that comes out of their.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. So you learn in that one that it's like jet fuel, and you have two options. You're given the option to either explode the canisters, which is the one that I think Sloan suggests that you do, or you have the option of rigging it to blow up when they use it, which is the option that Asher Murr, Asher Murr, Jerkface, who is somebody who really annoys the crap out of me. He's just obnoxious. He's like Mr. I'm going to mansplain everything at you, but it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a guy, because you are just going to get talked at the entire time, and you are not smarter than I am, even though I'm really not right most of the time. It's like, dear God, shut up,
He's gonna lore-splain it.
I don't like him. Just not at all. I don't like him. I don't know if I will ever like him. He is like what I imagined Rahul was when he was younger.
Fair enough.
But in that mission, so I picked Asher's choice because I thought it was funny. And you literally see at the end of the mission, the ships fly in and you see them blow up because of the rocket fuel being like messed with. Mm-hmm. Because he programmed it to do that. And I thought that was really cool.
So like you actually have a choice, like you actually can change the ending of the mission.
No,
that's pretty cool.
I don't know how much it would change as far as the lines being said, because there really wasn't a whole lot after you decide. Mm-hmm. But I'm interested to go back and play it again on a second character. And I would like to see more of that. I'd like to see there be different choices.
Well, and it's also, I think, that's kind of a possibility with the DLCs that we're seeing coming, and the story kind of that potentially could be behind that. I could see that being more of a thing. I know with that reminds me a lot of, Fallout, where you could be a good character or a bad character, whatever.
Oh yeah.
That reminds me a lot of that one. But I don't know, we did get a dispatch. Do you want to do dispatches first, or do you want to run through a few more of our thoughts?
Let's do dispatches, and then that'll give us kind of a jumping off point in case they have something we want to talk about.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's run through those real quick.
Dispatches from the wilds.
All right, well, we got a dispatch. Wow, I cannot talk. Dispatch. Pins sent us in a dispatch, and I really like it. It's a longer one, but he says, "Hi all. I was a bit cautious of my expectations of Destiny 2 as I was unsure what it would be like. It sure seemed like some type of reboot, and while I had reservations, I wanted to give it as fair a shake as possible. While not perfect, I will say that after playing campaign and now in the world exploring part of the game, I am pretty pleased with what Bungie has done. I'm still not sure about the PvP in Destiny 2 now. I have played it a bit for the Shaxx quest, and it just feels off for me. It may be that it's a totally new setup and I just need time to get used to it, so I'm holding off final judgment on that. The removal of heavy machine guns is another thing I have found to be annoying. I cannot think of a legitimate reason for their removal except they may have had an impact in PvP. You could go on really long kill streaks if you were good, and if true, I find that to be a very poor excuse. The last complaint is how our Guardian still does not speak. I know Bungie has a history of wanting their protagonists to be more shells that have little or no personality, with the goal of us imprinting our personality on them. I also know that there is a business reason for this, as the initial voice actors hired in year one would have cost quite a bit to reprise their roles, not to mention the voice actor strike still going on. Even with all that, I feel no real connection to my Guardian at all, and less than I would expect the NPCs we interact with. I will freely admit that all this stems from Halo and how I became emotionally invested in Chief and Cortana because of their discussions and interactions. And the facial expressions, which are done so well done, seem to emphasize this lack of connection more than minimize it. The biggest example of this I can think of is when we get the signal booster to Hawthorne and hear Zavala's transmission. The lack of a verbal response on our part takes away from the impact of that scene. But even though I may feel strongly about what I dislike, it really does not take away from my overall amazement of what we have now. The graphics are amazing in the diverse natures of Earth, Io, Titan, and Nessus. Little things like old pictures hanging on walls in the ruins of building give the feeling of a world that was lived in before it moved on. Nice. I like that nod. The number of justifying adventures, lost sectors, and the immense size of the maps lead to needing more time to see and do everything. Game mechanics like fast travel and not having to always go to orbit keep you immersed in the world and make it a continuous stream of action, where in D1 it seemed more like a series of steps you checked off as you went. And of course the story is amazing. Losing your light and struggling without it, meeting new allies in Hawthorne and Devrim, getting the band back together with Zavala, Cayde, and Ikora. Everyone, Guardians and civilians alike, for one of the final push to beat Gaul, in that where you could feel the desperation. All of it was told so very well. Tanks, enough said. The voice acting lines are amazing as well. Failsafe interactions with your ghost and the Cayde 6, as well as herself, are hilarious. I love that. Are hilarious. When speaking to Zavala, Cayde, and Ikora, when you are looking to get them back together, you can hear the conflict and emotion that each carry, as well as the respect that you knew was there but never heard between Zavala and Cayde. You have the interactions between Devrim and Hawthorne that are like a favorite uncle chiding his niece that bring a smile to my face when they banter back and forth. And of course, finding out why Cayde isn't allowed out of the tower. The biggest thing for me, though, was the closer connection between Guardians and those that they protect. This only hit home after completing the campaign. In Destiny 1, there were a few civilians in the tower, but it didn't feel like home. It was beautiful, but in a museum painting on the wall kind of way. It was a bit stark and sterile. In Destiny 2, however, it has the beauty that only comes from living in the world. All the civilians and shops give an energy that was not in the tower at all before. You actually want to wander around and listen to what everyone is saying. Then there is the Vanguard. They are no longer isolated in the command center together, but are out among the people and guardians in the tower. It gives the impression of a connection solidified through everyone working together to beat Gaul. It is that feeling of life, of hope, that is my favorite part of Destiny 2. Pins.
There's a lot to break down on that one. But I would say I agree with most of what he said, for sure. As far as, like, the weapon play, I do miss heavy machine guns because I used to do machine gun streaks in PvP. Because
you were one of those.
I was. I especially on Twilight Gap. I would get one of those, and I would I knew where people were going to funnel through, so I would just
wait,
stand back and wait, because that was the best way to get kills at that time. But gunplay feels pretty good. There are some weird ones. Like I feel better about auto rifles than I have in a long time.
Oh, I know. I actually don't mind having auto rifles.
Mm-hmm. There's the light machine gun, the submachine gun. I'm not sure if I like those yet, but they're growing on me.
Yeah, submachine guns I found they remind me a lot of the old auto rifles.
Mm-hmm. They're a little hard to control, and
yeah, they like to wander when you're firing.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. It's like I can't even use it. Like I play mid to long range in most of my missions, and if I can't aim to fire on you, there's no point in me using you. Just gonna say that. Sidearms are interesting, like the triple tap sidearms.
Oh my gosh! I was telling you about that Amalon one that you start off with. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I was like, this is like, it was amazing. Which is funny coming from me because I hated sidearms in Destiny.
I still like them. The other thing that I would say that he talked about with the community, not community, but like the fact that we're connected to the city now. I think that was part of the whole story, is the fact that we've ignored the city because we're guardians. And that's Hawthorne's whole point, is that, yeah, you may be guardians and can be revived and stuff like that, but we've survived just fine without you in certain places. Like, we are viable too. And I like how they pull that in there to make them a fierce character.
Mm-hmm. I do like her dig at Ikora in the campaign, because she was like, I think Ikora was like, this isn't your fight, and Hawthorne was like really fast on being like, she didn't quite get in her face, but I mean, it was like you could feel like her kind of like bristle, and she's like, what do you mean it's not our fight? Like it was just kind of like, I love that she didn't really back down. She's like, without your light, you're just one of us. And it's like, and you could see the kind of slap in the face that was for Ikora, at least, was, I mean, and rightfully so. It was, I was like, you said that. Why did you say that?
Right. Well, and just the fact that we talked about before D2 dropped, how Zavala had that existential crisis of like, what am I now? If I'm not a guardian because I don't have the revive ability, am I still a guardian in any way?
Yeah, and I think they did an amazing job capturing that with Ikora.
Mm-hmm. Man,
I didn't get like that. I mean, like, I saw it with Zavala, but man, Ikora's presentation was just like, I mean, it just was. I that was the one that, more than anything, I was like, that is a person who had literally everything just ripped away.
Well, with Ikora, too, it's her belief in the Traveler. She, of all the people, she was most devoted to the Traveler of the three Vanguard.
Yeah.
By far. Now, Zavala was devoted to the people, and that comes across in Homecoming, but it was Ikora who wanted to go and get the speaker out, and she was the one who was most upset about losing the speaker. Cade's just around. He's
my cotton socks.
Oh God. Okay.
I see why Cade is not allowed out of the tower.
He's got some of the best lines, though. Him and Failsafe. Like, I love how half of Failsafe's missions are like, this is why the Cade 6 is not allowed to do these things. This is your objective is to fix all. Yeah, your objective is to fix the issues that the Cade model creates. It's like, okay, that is pretty accurate. But come on, poor Cade.
I love the interaction with the campaign mission when you're trying to rescue Cade, and like your ghost is like, go away, like go away. I see, yeah, Pins. I see you met Failsafe and her evil twin, Failsafe.
I am interested to know how they're going to develop her story more, because I've gone through like the captain mission, which was so sad. That made me so sad for her.
Oh, for Failsafe? I haven't gotten that one.
Oh god, that one's kind of a tearjerker, and also kind of a pain in the butt, because Bungie has gotten really good about putting a lot of the mission points really, really high up on the map, to where you have to jump and you have to platform to get to them.
You know, they just know how much you love platformers.
Oh, okay. So, well, I don't mind platformers. See, I said that on DTR, and now I feel kind of bad because I don't really mind platformers. I just don't like platforming on the back of Hive ships when there's another freaking ship coming over and like bouncing me off because I don't have high enough boots. It's like, I'm sorry. I had to like readjust my agility every time we went into King's Fall for just that section, because I was not agile enough to jump up on the ship easily, because I am not good at it. Anyway, rant over.
I mean, I think the other thing is like, so the big thing is the silent protagonist. I know a lot of people kind of felt, a lot of people have very strong feelings either one way or the other. Like, I mean, I think that to me, it's not a huge deal, but I'm also kind of like, I mean,
I'm more attached to my ghost than I am my own character.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll be honest, I view my ghost as my player and my guardian as the controller that I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's, and there's nothing in like lore that backs that up, but it's like the ghost feels like it's more your character than the guardian does.
Right. But as far as the voiceless protagonist, I thought that Bungie did a really good job of like nodding to that multiple times during the campaign.
Yes.
Because there's some pretty funny moments where it's like, I know you're not going to say anything kind of stuff.
There was one where your guardian actually starts to say something and your ghost interrupts you. I was like, oh, you're
mean. Yeah. That was a fun one.
But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I see both sides on that one. I don't really have a strong feeling, I think, for it. I mean, I think it would be nice, but at the same time, like you kind of mentioned, the business side of it is, I think, a large reason kind of breaking fourth wall there, why we don't have it.
Which is, it's kind of sad. I mean, Matt Mercer, he's still working, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
He does the voice of McCree in Overwatch, and I know they've added lines within the last year or so for that one. But there were a lot of really high-end voice actors that were the voice of our Guardian. And it would be a really tough precedent to upkeep if they would have our Guardian continue to speak. I know it's weird because we had a Guardian that spoke a little bit during D1.
Right, yeah.
But it'd be hard to keep that going. It's hard enough to have Malcolm Reynolds, a.k.a. Cade 6, a.k.a. Nathan Fillion, voice him. I mean, and Zoe, is it Zoe? No, it's not Zoe. Zoe was her character. Gosh, what's her name? The voice actress for Ikora.
I only know her as Zoe. Like, I'll be honest. Gina Torres.
Yeah, Gina. I mean, those two are mainly Nathan Fillion's a bigger name, but Gina is not exactly a cheap actress either.
Right. Right. And I mean, and that was arguably the reason, supposedly the reason, or one of the reasons we had a reboot of Ghost. Was that so?
Peter Dinklage. He's got some new stuff coming out. Peter Dinklage does.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah, like season 7 of some show or something, right?
Well, not only that. I think he has there's a new thing that he's doing where he's like a prisoner. I don't know.
Oh,
I'd have to.
But yeah. So I mean, I think I agree. I agree with most of it. Again, the only thing I am stepping off of is the silent protagonist. But I mean, again, that's kind of just because to me, it's not really a big deal. I'm used to silent protagonist, I guess, because like again, Skyrim, Skyrim, Fallout, you don't really have a voice. Like you have a voice because you have a dialogue wheel,
right?
So like you are speaking in game, but you just don't hear it. Like I think that's kind of the difference for us is like we don't have a dialogue wheel. But
Mass Effect did that same thing.
Yeah, okay, that's right, because Mass Effect had the reaction wheel, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of games anymore that have that kind of wheel. But as far as having relatability to our character, our story, I think the thing that we're missing most is the fact that we don't have a backstory. If you have a silent protagonist, normally you have a backstory to help develop the relationship to that protagonist. We don't have that because we have been there for the entirety of what our protagonist remembers. And so your only memories are what you got with what you played.
Well, and I think that's kind of where the a lot of what was it? The alternative line in Cage Stash where Ghost even kind of comments on it. Like he's like, "You've been silent, for a long time. Are you sure everything's okay up there?" Like he kind of calls out the fact like you're not talking. Like
right.
And I think there's a couple like you said, there's a couple comments in Destiny 2 also about like how your character just doesn't talk. And so, I mean, I don't know. It's there. And it's it's one of those things where it's like, I could see being a dialogue wheel. I think adding a dialogue wheel would be really cool. But the problem
still have issues with it.
They would still have issues. And the problem with the dialogue wheel is that, whereas in like Skyrim and Fallout and, other RPGs, that's kind of the point. It actually changes things. You actually have an event that you can change the outcome to, and Destiny just isn't that type of RPG. It's a shoot 'em loot 'em game. It's not a true RPG. I mean, if we're gonna call a spade, right? Because like Skyrim, the reason you would talk to people is to develop skills, is to develop, a particular skill set, and then which you could then bribe people, do other things. And same with Fallout. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a valid thing, and it's something that a lot of people have made comments about. So
that's true. So, okay, here's my next question. Is there anything, I know we're going to talk about this obviously later once we get some in, but is there anything lore-wise that just kind of slapped you in the face like, oh my gosh, like that is huge?
Cryptarchs are guardians.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't know why that just surprised the hell out of me. Like they said that and I was like, wait, what? Back up. What did you just say?
All awoken are guardians.
Right. But I mean, it wasn't even that. It had never, like, that particular wire had never been connected. Like, I just remember that because Tyra's like, when I lost connection to the light, I just, I lost my, or whatever, her memory got scrambled or whatever. And she's like, I just being a guardian. I was like, whoa, lady. You were a what now?
I still feel like part of the awoken connection has to do with their connection to being transformed with the light. I still feel like that has something to do with it. But I know she has that line.
Rose said in chat that Zavala says we were guardians first awoke. I think in chat Rose is asking we are guardians first awoken second. I have actually heard that. I misread that. I think what he means is that you put your guardianship ahead of your race. So like you could say the same thing about an exo or a human. We are guardians first, humans second.
Right.
I think that's what is mentioned there.
Because we know that Mara Sov is not a guardian, neither is Uldren.
Right, because Uldren, we know Uldren's not a guardian because he basically says that to Eris.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the Savathun ghost scan.
The Savath, so there's lots of like tidbits to lore that has been buried. I've been trying. Okay, so I got drugged through the campaign. I was kind of like you. Like I played the first couple of missions and went, "Ooh, shiny," and just started.
There's a lost sector.
Else.
What is this?
I know. It's like, oh, I want to record all the things, so all my recordings have no order whatsoever because I'm just running around randomly. But my raid team was just like, you need to finish the campaign. I need you to finish the campaign. So last Saturday, 2 of my raid buddies drugged me through the entire campaign. And so I was bombarded with everything. And I would have to say that the amount of work that went into the campaign is awesome with the cutscenes and stuff. It's really weird because you have all the cutscenes at the beginning and then you have very, very light in the middle and then there's a bunch of cutscenes at the end. And some of the ideas that they pulled off, like it's not necessarily story ideas, but it is. Some of the things that they're like, oh, and do you mind if I spoil like part of one of the missions?
I don't.
Okay. Should we spoil any of the missions? It's been out over a week at this point.
I mean, like, for me, the reason I haven't finished the campaign is because of work, but I'll be completely honest. I know the story. Like, to me, I kind of like, I'm not saying that there's anything against people who play blind. I don't care. I mean, to me, it's whatever. It's your call. Right. But just me personally, I know that I don't have a lot of time to play, so I'm completely immune to being salty about spoilers.
Okay. So
but spoiler alert for anybody who's listening who hasn't finished the campaign.
It's
for the next just for next couple minutes, we're going to talk spoilers.
It's a mechanic thing. It's a mechanic thing that they pulled in. So I really enjoyed that towards the end, when you're going to blow up the Almighty or going to disable the Almighty, that one of the things that I've never seen in a video game is you're running outside in front of the sun and you have to hide from the solar radiation. I thought was really cool. I mean, it's not really a story point so much as it's just kind of a cheat to get through to know that, hey, if you step in all the solar radiation, you're going to take damage. I mean, that kind of seems like common sense, but some people, you never know. People go outside without sunscreen. You don't really have sunscreen. Like, what would that be? Like 5 billion proof. So, right,
that makes
and
sense.
Even full body armor doesn't stop this.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it reminds me of Chronicles of Riddick.
Mm-hmm.
Is what
that's
what that sounds like.
Some of the mechanic things that they pulled off, like having you run around the ship on the outside in front of the sun, having there be a thing called the Almighty that is going to blow up a sun, which story-wise, here's my beef with that. If they blow up the sun, or implode the sun, which is what the image in the cutscene kind of depicts, where is Gaul going to be at that point? And does Gaul not realize he has to have the Traveler nearby or have connection to the Traveler to continually get a light? Does he think he's going to take all the light?
Well, and that's kind of a question that I kind of have with the raid gear that we've seen, the Fulminator gear. Because if you read some of the flavor text on the Fulminator gear, that's kind of the question that comes up is, what is going on? Right. Like, because some of the and like I will be 100% honest, I haven't read the full set. I haven't like had a chance to really, because it's just recently started coming up. But the Fulminator set basically has the message of like breaking the bonds of distance for somebody. And we don't know what it is that we're talking about, but it almost seems like it's talking about a guardian. But But then you have like a couple problems with that, because we're the only guardians that have ever existed. So like how did the Fulminator exist? And all this stuff. But there kind of seems like a nod to maybe the Traveler. Maybe we don't need to be within a certain distance. Like once we have light, and we're done.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of get that a little bit with us being revived by the shard,
right?
Which I don't know. There's some slight holes that I'm not sure how you guys are going to patch this.
My problem with that one is my problem with that is we got to talk about it with DTR. Is like I just, there's a disconnect, I think, in the way the Crucible is re-brought up, because it's like it's all about, yeah, you're the only guardian to have your light back, yeah, blah blah, and then let's go to live fire exercise. I was like, wait, Shax, hang on, Shax, whoa, hang on, buddy, what? it's like, because like there's a story mission, and I kind of like, I was thinking about this like when I was playing the campaign, and then it's the hug, like hugs scene, but like basically it explains the command, like the Vanguard taking all the lightless guardians against the city, and I was like, wait, hang on, then who are we fighting in the Crucible? Like I know, it's definitely a game mechanic that you have to be able to do that, because you do not want to lock PvP behind a however many hour campaign this is. Like that just would be a bad call, especially since there's a large push to kind of try to move Destiny into a more competitive standpoint. Like I totally get it, but it was one of those like, wait, hang on, what just happened?
Right. Here's my favorite part, though, as far as story wise, the speaker.
The zings that he has are amazing.
The zings in that he's just unapologetic and like, I don't care what you do to me. I mean, we've always kind of ragged on the speaker for being kind of this awkward talking head that doesn't really necessarily talk. But I have a lot more respect for who he kind of was and what his role was in Destiny 1. And I think we get a lot more of a more personal look at who he is and what his purpose actually was, rather than what everyone kind of assumed that he was doing.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. But real quick, before we go too much further, I do want to take a quick moment, if you'll let me, Green. You heard before the episode that today's chat is sponsored by Audible. As most of you know, we are sponsored now by Audible, or we're affiliated with Audible. So as part of the Focus Fire chat community, you also might notice that we do a monthly book club. And as many of us, kind of what we're talking about here, don't have a lot of time to sit down and read, a great alternative can be found over at Audible. So the FFC team would like to offer you a chance to try that alternative out by offering you a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to the service. All you have to do that is visit www.audibletrial.com/FFC, and that's it, and just sign up. What is this month's? Why did I just put Neverwhere? And so it's an excellent book, and I believe the audiobook is actually read by
I think it's
Gaiman, Neil, right?
Gaiman, he tends to read
he reads. I was about to say, I think he reads most of his own. But yeah, so definitely if you're at all interested, or if you've ever been interested in doing an audiobook thing, definitely give them a try.
And if you have never done it, I mean, it's like a subscription service in some respects. You get one audiobook, or you can actually do an upgrade and do like 2 audiobooks a month for free. Quote unquote free. It's whatever price audiobook. There's lectures series about anything and everything. There's one on classical music. There's lectures on psychology and all sorts of stuff. And you can get those, and those are normally like $50-$60 a piece. You can get those for the $7.99 or $14.99, depending on which plan you get, just straight like that. And if you run out of credits, sometimes they run a special where you can get 3 credits for $33. And most audiobooks are going to be like $14, $15 an audiobook, depending on the length and the popularity. So they've got some pretty good deals going on. Are all FFC characters awoken? Is Justin awoken, or is he a human?
He's awoken.
Yeah, then we're all Hunter awoken.
That's really funny. I never even realized that.
Yeah. Great
minds think alike.
For sure.
But I guess that kind of opens up another thing that I have heard a lot of talk about, and it's the idea of Destiny 1 as an episode 0 for the series. So I go back and forth on this one. It's not necessarily a bad thing by any means. But there are potential problems. So for those who are not 100% familiar with, it's mostly used in comic book terminology, but there's other things. In comic book terminology, episode 0 is basically an issue that is usually a backstory that covers information that readers need to know in order to continue on to events. The issue is generally something that sets up the story of who the main characters are for those who don't know and why they are starting the journey. However, it is not the start or a part of the journey. That's hence the episode 0 and not episode 1. And so this is often seen in the emphasis of this being, kind of the world setup. You actually, excuse me, you also see this in a different bit in manga. And this is a terminology that's used as a one-shot. So that what they do with manga is they will often, because manga is like, there's tons of manga out there. What publishers will often do is they will have a single shot, single chapter of a story. They will publish it. They will put it out, or however they publish it, and they actually use it to gauge the interest in the story. So basically, if the one shot is successful, the story is then turned into a full-blown manga. So they're
like a pilot episode.
Yeah, a prequel, if you will, which is often what you see with like TV shows who do episode 0s. The confusing thing is that sometimes episode 0s are after the fact. So like it's kind of like with TV shows, it gets kind of weird. So that kind of brings me to the potential problems. I'm just going to be really blunt here. This is not what I'm saying is a problem right now. I'm saying this is a potential problem. The problem with episode 0s is that there can be continuity issues. Continuity can suffer if you do not really carefully manage how the episode 0 is handled going forward. And the only reason I really bring this up is that we see a bit of an upheaval in the creative teams that Bungie has seen. There have been changes to Bungie, behind the scenes, and we know this, and that's fine. That's, business as usual. But because of those upheavals, there's going to be gaps. They're not necessarily huge holes, but there are going to be patches that will need to be glossed over for just the sake of the whole series and that series cohesiveness. So a few examples, right? The Traveler terraforming Venus. Well, in Destiny 1, the Traveler did not terraform Venus. Humanity did. But in Destiny 2, they reference it in the Tractor Cannon, which is exotic.
I thought that the Traveler did terraform it, but
no. The Hesperonauts, the Hesperos armor specifically refers to Hesperonauts as the people who went and installed terraforming engines in the sea, in the calderas of Venus to terraform Venus. Okay. But in the Tractor Cannon, which is where they kind of clarify where Shioma and Maya meet, they actually refer to the to Venus as being terraformed by the Traveler. Again, big hole in the story? No, not really. But it is a gap, right? Another one, and this one actually is kind of one that's a little annoying to me, as most of you probably know, is the new subclasses. They're actually old subclasses. But there is no attempt from what I've seen. So what I've seen so far, I'm going to preface that right here. From what I've seen so far, I haven't seen any attempt to smooth over this new information in a way that allows for an explanation as to why suddenly we're hearing or learning about them. Arcstrider kind of gives like a little bit of a nod, like just like a tad, because it says like, yeah, time vanished us like it does memories. I'm like, really? Like that's really? I mean, I'm not. I mean, if that's all we have to work with, again, does it break the story? No, not really. It kind of bugs me, but it's not like a huge break. And I know, Green, you probably have thoughts on that one.
As far as the things like that breaking the story, or like Destiny being kind of a backstory for the general player.
Right.
For we'll say the lore casuals, the ones who just know the story from the campaign and the missions and don't know anything outside, the story works perfectly fine. There is nothing that I've seen in game that would have been a major change from Destiny 1 basic missions, basic campaign to Destiny 2. The thing that has been cracking me up as far as, and I was kind of mentioning this a little bit earlier, is I've had to explain so much to my raid team. So much. Like, who are the 9? And what is going on? Like, why are these people here? Like, who is Callus? What happened? Who are the Red Legion? Why are they even here? Like, what signal are we talking about? The signal went out. I mean, there's so many like little things that got glossed over in game from Destiny 1 that is now like a high focused amount in Destiny 2 that everyone's like, what? And I think part of what Bungie did is they wanted to highlight the writing from Destiny 1 because a lot of us really love Destiny 1. And so they're bringing it into mission. Yes, we're getting the grimoire in game or the story in game, but they're bringing the things that we love already from the different weapons and the different things so everybody can know about it. And they're making it to where that grimoire from Destiny 1 is viable still.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what I mean is like, so like in my conclusion to this little point that I had written up, it's like, you know, my conclusion is basically there are going to be bubbles of discontinuity. The idea of an episode 0 is by no means a new concept at all. And basically, if you handle it with care, it's actually very beneficial to most stories. So far, like I said, there's nothing really that breaks the game as far as from a story standpoint or anything that I've seen. And I really am not expecting there to be, other than some small, you know, quote unquote clarifications that are made that we're just going to we're going to be required to reorient some of the theories, and mostly they're going to be around implied understanding. So again, they're not breaking the lore, they're just kind of through clarification redirecting our focus.
Right.
An example of that is, we actually get a definition, an actual definition of Radiolarians. And that is that they are not the Vex. No, they are a byproduct of the Vex, instead of being the Vex. And so the game does point out that the Vex are not fully machine, but they are not, previously we had all thought kind of the Radiolaria were the Vex that, were
they were
inside.
The plankton.
Right. Well, that's not the case. The Radiolaria, the Vex milk is actually a byproduct of the Vex. Which kind of begs the question of like, well, what is the Vex then? But I mean, so like, again, clarification, it's going to reorient us, and we need to just kind of, be open to working on theories a little bit more, which is fine. I'm not opposed to that at all. That's the point of theories, is they're theories, they're hypothesis, and scientific method, guys, that's nothing big.
Here's the thing that okay, so I know we're pretty worried about when we're talking lore. Beforehand, you, Justin, and I have always been able to pull up a card and say, this is what this says, this is what this is. Now we have to actually, I was telling you in DTR, we actually have to go into the missions themselves and either find the quest dialogue, which luckily Ishtar Collective is going through and writing those out for us again, but it's not the same reading it as it is being in the moment with it. Right. And we have to, there's a lot more that we're going to have to play and just live and record and relive over and over and over for us to learn the little things, because I guarantee you, people are going to miss a lot of the story the first time they play through it. And if they're not allowed to go back and play those missions again, like some of the adventures, there's going to be so much missed. So much lore.
Well, and that kind of goes back into, what Bife was saying and what I was kind of getting at with the lore archive, if you will, inside your menu. I think that would go a long way. Like every time you discover something, worthwhile or scan something, you should be able to, record it, because, and we know that it's getting noted as being recorded, because in my menu, it's not necessarily popping up as aggressively. If I scan something and then I walk by it, it doesn't like beep, 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 and it's not like yelling at me.
Here's my beef with those for the scannables. I am so, and I want to curse. I'm so tired of getting the beep, 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 and it's the level above me or the level below me and nowhere where I'm at. I spend the next 30 minutes trying to find the stupid thing that is
my brother and I had that happen. We were so
mad about that. Titan does it really bad.
Yeah, it was either Titan. I can't remember if it was Titan but there was one where I was in an elevator and I was like, and it kept activating. And I was like, I swear to you, there is nothing around me. And so finally I was like, I'm done. I give up. I literally cannot figure out where this is. And I turned the corner and it's against the wall on the other side. So because I was in the proximity or whatever of it, I was getting notified, but it was actually, I had to continue going around the loop to get to it. I was like, that makes sense.
It's a cool little function, but I really wish that you could pull out your ghost and it alerts you to where it's at.
It kind of does. Like if you pull out your ghost, it'll look at it, but it doesn't really help if you're like, if you're on a ramp and it's like looking below the ramp. I died a lot trying to get to it.
20 minutes of recorded time, and I could bring up that clip sometime. I spent 20 minutes on Titan trying to find a stupid scannable during one of the little adventures, and I'm like, why, Bungie? This is worse than playing some of the different types of missions that have no story. I mean, seriously, come on, guys. I want to know what the scannables are, and I can't get to it because I can't find a stupid scannable.
We do know that the Hive experiment on breeding.
The hype and the Taken experiment and all sorts of things.
Yeah, let that sink in for a little bit and give you nightmares.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so new things, obvious new things that are in game or possibly later in game. What are some of the obvious new things that you noticed?
That I missed?
Noticed.
Oh, noticed. I think I think we touched on most of them. There's definitely more. There's definitely more involvement with the civilians, which I think is amazing. I really like that. The challenge, that they kind of show what it's like to not be a guardian. Mm-hmm. I love that. Like the entire concept of the farm, I really like. Like I just finished setting up the patrol beacons for my character, and the snark from Devrim towards Cade is amazing. Like I love that.
Can I just go and just jump on a pedestal real quick about Devrim?
Yes.
If Bungie, if any of you are listening, I applaud you for having a little bit more diverse character. Did you heard about this? You're the one who mentioned it to me.
I was the one that sent you the article.
I applaud you for having a more diverse character. I would like to know more than just the fact of 2 lines that are in game, but at the same time, I'm like, could you have a more stereotypical British man, snarky British man, and you make him gay? I'm sorry.
But he really likes tea. But he really likes tea.
Right, but that's like...
I just love the fact.
Okay, like, I made a pot of tea for you, but I drank it. But maybe you should hurry up next time. I'm like, really? I feel like Bife's talking to me if Bife actually likes tea. I don't even know if Bife likes tea. It's like, guys.
He's British. Of course he likes tea.
That's
a standard thing.
We need to, like, tweet at him, like, Bife, do you like tea? See episode 101 of Focus Fire Chat for the reason behind this random tweet. But I'm glad they have a character that they specifically designed, like, a little bit of lines being more... They're being a gay character, being a little bit more diversified. I remember hearing Belle talk about that on Guardian Radio quite a long time ago, how there's strong female characters. I like that there's more diverse characters. That being said, I do not appreciate it being a publicity stunt somewhat.
Well, and I don't know if I would hesitate on saying that, because I don't think it was... Bungie didn't call attention to it. Right? I mean...
That's true, but...
Bungie did not call attention to it. I would hesitate to say that it was a publicity stunt.
I think the idea of having someone be gay in your game just so you can say you have someone who's gay in your game is... a little, I don't know. It's like... Well,
to be fair, though...
It's calling a spade a spade.
Right, but I mean, like... let's be honest here. That's not it. He's not the first character. I mean...
Okay, that's true. Chioma
I mean, they were married. They were married to each other.
But one that we actually see in game
right,
and
now this is
to.
Correct. This is the first... I think... the first character that we have in game. That is confirmed, I think. I would clarify it.
Yeah, considering we don't know whether or not Miss don't have time to talk to you type girl.
Right. Well, and the other thing is like there's reference to... Well, no, because we now know that Cade had a family. And with the Owl Sector, we know that Ikora has...
which that is
feelings
the most
towards
story.
Feelings towards people. And I mean, Destiny 2 did confirm Ariana and Wei Ning. But I mean, that's Ariana and Wei Ning, we kind of thought that in Destiny 1. We got the confirmation basically in Destiny 2. But I mean, like, I don't think I wouldn't call it a publicity stunt.
I just worry about it being thrown in game just because it's a good thing to do, I guess. I don't know.
But but at the same time, because it's a good thing to do, that doesn't. I mean, I'm just being devil's advocate here.
I know it doesn't exclude it from being something they should do.
I mean, so case in point, right? Case in point on the good thing to do argument. The hunter arms that got pulled, right? The hunter arms that got pulled. You could argue, if you really wanted to be kind of a conspiracy theorist, that was a publicity stunt. You know, I am 100% not agreeing with that statement.
Right.
I think that, but I mean, what I'm saying is I'm presenting this as that was the right thing to do. And they did it. And they made the announcement simply to cover their basis, because not to get a pat on the back, but I think to tell people basically who had the armor that, hey, if it disappears, this is why. Like, it was more, I think, to kind of be like explaining. I don't think they were trying to get a pat on the back.
At this point, right now, Devrim is kind of a token character, because we only see him. Yes, we have Chioma and Wei Ning and all of them in the grimoire. That those of us who have read the grimoire know that is there, but we don't have Mark, I think is his name.
Right.
His partner.
Yeah. I think his partner.
We don't see that character, which, granted, I don't remember where they said Mark is. And I really wish
he was back in like a settlement, basically. Like, cause Devrim's like on the front lines, and I don't know if I don't think it was the farm, but it was basically like a city something area. Like that. Yeah.
I think for me, it would, I think it would be better if yes, Devrim is there and he has somebody in his life that he has maybe just like a one-off scene where you see them together, kind of just arm in arm, or like just standing next to each other. That's just one of those.
But see, I would argue that would be actually more of a publicity stunt than having a line or two of idle dialogue. That just, I mean, and the thing is, and I'll be honest, I haven't heard the idle dialogue, so I don't know. But my understanding is that it's like it's delivered in. Like it's not calling to attention. It's just delivered in like non-commental, just like, you know, blah blah blah, just normal conversation.
Right. I just think if they're going to talk about sexuality, that they should just talk about sexuality. Because, I mean, Lord knows they're talking about some really heavy subjects in the missions. Right. If they're going to bring that one up, I think they should just bluntly bring it up, besides just idle dialogue. Because right now it just feels like it's just barely paying face. And that's just it feels like a bit of a publicity stunt in the fact that it is not enough, in my opinion.
Right. And I hear that. I do hear that. And I would argue, I guess my argue, it's not really an argument. My response to that is, you know, the entire story of Maya and Chioma, and is not in game except for in grimoire. It might be later. Well, okay. Well, but we do have is I see that. I hear you on that side. We do have the confirmation of what excuse me, Wei Ning and Ariana.
Right.
Which, I mean, again, I don't know. I see that the reason I don't see it as a huge issue is because it is given just as much attention as every other character's sexuality.
Yeah, that's,
you know, like, I mean,
I get that.
You wouldn't know about Ikora except for the Owl Sector records. You wouldn't know about Cade's family. You wouldn't even know about Cade being interested in humans except for Cade's journal. And you would not know about his family except for, I believe, the is it the Flashpoint dialogue that he's talking about Ace, his son, I think. I mean, so for
which makes me so sad.
Right? No. Story. Right, but I mean, my point there being is that my view of it is that it is given equal treatment to everything else that is along that lines. And I think that more than anything speaks volumes that it's not a publicity stunt. It's literally just equality. It's everyone is the same, regardless of whatever.
I get that. That's just one of my
that would be my right. No,
rant.
Right. No. And I completely, as soon as you said that, I was like, I completely get where you're going with that one. And I hear that. I hear it. I just would say, that's my counter point. I'm not even going to say it's an argument because it's really not. But,
right. So, okay, let's move past that because that could be a whole episode in and of itself if you let me get on my soapbox type thing and start preaching.
No. I mean, but it's good. And if you guys haven't read it, it's a good. I can't remember who published it. It's a pretty decent.
It's article. In Reddit. If you go through my tweets, I've posted pretty much almost every single Reddit post within the last in Destiny lore. That is. On my Twitter. My tweeter is Twitter.
If you sign it with a bird, it's called a tweeter.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Sounds not okay.
It's from Moana.
So, yeah, you're welcome is.
No, he said that when he signs her ore. With the chicken, he's like, if you sign it with a bird, it's called a tweet or something. I can't remember the exact line, but it's like he's like it's a Twitter or tweeter or something like that.
That's funny.
And she looks at him and then hits him and wants to hit him in the face.
With the ore. Yeah, I remember. That's a good movie. But okay, so is there anything that you were just like Bungie why? Like Bungie no, Bungie why?
No, I mean not yet. Not yet. Other than the subclass thing, which I mean that's not a surprise to anyone who's been around me.
Which have you done all the subclass missions for Hunter?
I have not. Okay. Now that you bring that up, there is a small bone I have to pick with the Gunslinger subclass. I have my Night Stalker token and I'm filling it out. So I will be doing my Night Stalker one hopefully here shortly. I'm trying to level up my Gunslinger right now. I did have a bone to pick with the presentation of the Ghost Fragments that was read.
The
message that was sent was vastly different. And this is, again, implied. So clarification. I'm just kind of like, it kind of turns my interpretation of this card on its head. Because, and I think you know the one I'm talking about, but it's basically the Ghost Fragment. I can't remember which Ghost Fragment it is. It's the Ghost Fragment where Cade is talking about the Scions talking to Rasputin. Daedalus, I will get to that in just a second. But anyways, there's a line in it in which he does, he's talking about like, and when you read the card, when we read the card at first, it always kind of seemed like it was the Scion talking to Rasputin.
Yet, I don't necessarily think that the people who are delivering the text in
I'm hoping that's the case
because when you get to the Night Stalker one, it's quite a bit different, and I can't even pick out who the Night Stalker reader is for half of those.
Well, my problem with okay, so like, well, the point that I have is with the Gunslinger one, it's Nathan Fillion who's who's reading the Rasputin piece,
which he does most of them. He does most of the cards, even in the Night Stalker. He does quite a few of those cards.
Yeah, because I think he does the one with Rezel. Because I was watching Unknown when he was doing it, and I think that was the one I was like, his Rezel is here. It's like, because everyone's like, what card? What is he talking about? I'm like, his Rezel.
When he's talking about even Guardians.
That
card.
But anyway, the infliction that he puts on it, though, changes the meaning, to me at least, to be actually, it was Cade talking to the Scions.
Right.
And I was like, whoa. That changes a lot.
Makes people say that Cade's Rasputin again.
Not even that. It's the recognition that, I mean, there's that argument is always going to be there, but it's the recognition that Cade has then of what he is, because that's the whole thing about the Exos is they don't really remember what they're doing or what they're, they've been around for so long that even the non-Guardian Exos don't remember. Right. And so all of a sudden there's just kind of like this nod to maybe realizing something. And I don't know. It was kind of like, what? Hang on.
Speaking of Exo go for it. So there's something about Banshee possibly having a wipe coming up soon. And there's actual talks in the tower in some of the scannables about Banshee's wipes.
That's that's a spoiler that I know about. I'm not really happy with it because I have a problem. I don't know. It depends on how they handle it. I'm kind of in the camp that the number behind the Exo's name is actually not anything to do with the wipe. I think it's the model number.
I don't know. I mean,
Failsafe refers to it as the Cade 6 model.
Right. I know that's true. And then but they're talking, even Banshee mentions in tower about, and do we even call it? I mean, I know it's called the tower in game, but we're not really in the tower. We're actually on the wall. I think.
Oh, are we?
I think that's where we end up.
Right. And the other thing that I have for the defense against the number being a wipe is that in the Lord Teamer card, he specifically calls out Fellwinter as having the number etched in his skin. So I'm like, so it's part of the wipe getting that number laser removed and re-tattooed.
It's like a bad tattoo.
Wait, I mean, or is this like a digital reader? Like what do you mean that's etched in your skin? Like, I mean, the induction speech from, I can't remember if it's Saladin or Zavala. He talks about like, Exos, do you ever look down at that number and wonder what it is? Like, it's like,
right.
It's a physical presence on the body. And so for me, that kind of speaks to, that's, if the wipe is a digital wipe, which is a big if that's what's happening, why is the number, like, how does the number get updated? Do they actually get transported into a new body?
Here's the other thing is maybe the number isn't updated. Maybe it's literally just a defrag type thing and then they're the same number. I mean, I don't know.
Right, but then why do you? I mean, right. I could see that too. I don't know. I don't know. It's there's a lot of different possibilities there.
There is a line that Banshee says about being like referring to himself as like Banshee 41.
Oh, really?
In Tower, I'll have to see if I can find it because I know in Destiny,
right? I know in Destiny 1. He refers to himself as having been wiped 43 times.
Right.
And so that's where a lot of people kind of made connected the dots on, oh, well, this is the number, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I mean, yeah, it's possible. I'm not arguing that it's not possible. It's totally possible. I just feel like if it's also a number that's been etched on their frame, it's like,
maybe that's where they started. Maybe that's the number they started with.
Right, but I mean, I don't know. It just, to me, it's like, it just seems like it won't increase, but the wipes could happen.
Right. We need to answer Daedalus' question because I want to hear your take on this one.
If I remember, from what I remember, having not actually played the Night Stalker mission just yet, but from what I remember in the stream that I was watching for Unknown Player, it is the conversation about a Guardian falling. Is that correct, Green? It's the
Azir. It's about Azir, essentially, yeah.
So, like, it's because isn't it in his strong hand a man held a rose? Like, wasn't it the start of the first card, basically?
That was one of the... I don't know if that was in Night Stalker, but I remember hearing that again, yes, in one of the missions.
So I think my personal opinion on that one is just given the nature of Void Light, there's a lot of close connections to void light being somewhat questionable or somewhat vampiric. You see a lot with one of my favorite stories. I love how they are presenting Night Stalkers in Destiny 2, by the way. Love it. The story on the Night Stalker the lore, if you open up do we call them cards? What do we call them now?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
We got to figure out a term
caps,
for it.
Screens.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to have to talk to Baxter and see what they're called.
Lore tabs. I don't know.
I know like in the database they're called categories, I believe. But like if you're on the Night Stalker one, if you go to Ishtar, they have them all saved in the categories section. If you go to the Night Stalker one, amazing story, like just awesome story, and it's like they're really personalizing the subclasses, which is something I really, really appreciate. There is an exotic suit or exotic piece of armor called the Orpheus Rig, I believe is the name of it.
That's one of them.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of them, but the Orpheus Rig is like, oh my god, I don't even know what the armor does, I'll be honest. I don't pay attention to the mechanics of armor. I'm completely a lore casual player. But the story on the Orpheus Rig is all about like the night, like the place that the Night Stalker belongs. And it's like, it's kind of how like I personally envision my character, which is why I've always kind of always associated more with a Night Stalker. But like the Night Stalker is the true like penumbran hunter scout loner type character. And because of that, the Night Stalker has also been always presented as the kind of the individual who doesn't really have a problem doing some questionable things, because they're all about surviving. They're all about getting the job done. Doesn't matter what it takes, just getting it done. And so for me, it's like, you know, I love that. And so I think the reason why they bring up the Rezel Azir card, because of the Night Stalker's kind of psychological leanings, it's a warning. You know, be careful.
You haven't played that yet. The voice actress, it's really creepy. Like,
oh, does it?
It is
amazing, awesome. I'm really excited for it because like
it's super creepy, and it's a female voice actress for the majority of it.
For the Night Stalker, is it?
I can't tell you who it is. I mean, I don't know who. I don't recognize the voice. No,
but does she ever identify character wise?
I couldn't figure out who it was. I also played through it very quickly with audio just barely kind of in the background while somebody else was talking to me about their day at work. So we don't blame her. Too.
We don't blame that person at all.
Yeah. Nope. She is a lovely person.
Yeah, Orpheus Rig is the Quantus Ray is the story. And like Orpheus Rig, I'm just gonna read this because this is like I was just rolling through the new stuff on Ishtar. And like this is like just one that like I personally I can see my character, like the way that I've kind of always pictured my character. This is something I could see in. And it says, never ever look back. Quintus Ray has almost forgotten what colors are. For months, she has prowled the deep shadowed catacombs of Nessus, the places where the inexorable Vex burrowed into the rogue planet and replaced natural life with a cold, inhuman labyrinth. Light is scarce in this place. But Quantus knows how to find it, how to feel for the unripples of the void, to draw light from the infinities between spaces. She knows how to roll black holes between her fingertips and how to knock her bow with the inescapable gravities of the universe. Soon Quantus will leave this place, return to the city, report her findings, see colors again. But that won't last long. She is a Night Stalker. Out here, balanced upon the infinitesimal life's edge, is where she truly belongs. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just to me that's like that's what I picture a hunter being like is like that scout, like the scout, the lone wolf. You know, we hear that with the gunslingers, the lone wolf looking for the perfect shot.
It's about.
I'm not a fan.
It's all about where you belong.
Oh my god, I'm not a fan of the gunslinger tab because it makes the hunter that is talking about sound like an idiot because he can't count to 3.
Well, okay. Can you blame him?
No, I don't blame him. But I'm like, really, that's gonna be that's the story we're going with here, guys. Come on.
So, like, one of the lines, I actually just a video clip of somebody just capturing the voice acting for the Voidwalker mission in Discord for you. Like, one of the lines is, it's all about where you belong. Warlocks have their libraries, Titans have their walls, Hunters belong to the wild, and there ain't nobody as wild as a hunter with a full of blade. It's like, yeah, I like it. I like that one.
One of the suits of armor that you get when you first start out, I think it's the scavenger one, is like the flavor text is basically what is it? When the tower was destroyed, everyone else was exiled. The hunter, like, oh god, what was it? I'm not going to be able to do it justice. But basically, it's when the tower was destroyed, everyone was driven out. The hunters went home. Mm-hmm. And that's a terrible rendition of it because I can't remember off the top of my head.
I just love how the hunters have this game, like the fact that sectors were literally marked by hunters.
Right.
I mean, it's just nice. It's nice to add the tower with the Titans and the Warlocks with their libraries and stuff like that, but now they're in kind of a way. Good. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah, so the Night Stalker one, the ending is my favorite part. Because it starts off, it's like the blade dancers deride us as slow. The gunslingers say we lack precision, you know, and all this stuff. And then it's the Night Stalker basically creates the bow, and it's like, and the Titan and a Warlock leap from a bog. So he's like, "This is it, you two." He says, "The Warlock and Titan leap from the bog behind me. A bow appears in my hands, and I let a single binding shot loose from the shadow. Now there are orbs of light everywhere. Eat, my friends, eat."
Which is very creepy.
I was like yes! Love it!
There's so many little creepy things. Gosh. Voidwalkers sound... I mean, if you're talking about light as a spectrum like we did on DTR...
Oh god, Voidwalkers.
They're dark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you... Because... what is it?
Here's another one for
Devour?
you.
Is it Devour?
That's one of the...
perks for the Voidwalker, right? Isn't that the one where they eat their grenade?
It's either that or, let me see, Deadfall, Keen Scout, Vanishing Step, Snare, Vanish and Smoke, Mobius Quiver.
No, for the Voidwalker, not for the Night Stalker.
Yes, Devour is one of the...
Because that one, you know, you want to talk about chills.
But
you just ate a grenade.
Mm-hmm. Here's another one for you. You take aim before you pull. That's right. It doesn't make sense. Void. So you take aim and fire. Line up your shot. Then you pull bow. Always worth it for the looks on their faces.
Oh, yeah. the always look.
So good. There's some really good lines. Like, I am really happy with some of the writing that they've done on this game. Not just for the comedy aspect, which I always appreciate, because I like people that have, like, funny quips or even puns. Like, there's puns in the game. Like, why? Who decided to put puns in the game? Because thank you. Thank you for that. My gosh. It's good. It's good stuff. There's some really good writing. So, here's my next question for you. Of the missions you've played so far, of the little side quests or other areas you've gone into, which has been your favorite?
I'll be honest. I think the one where you are rescuing Cade. simply because the dialogue is amazing. Like their dialogue with failsafe, like they nailed failsafe. I love failsafe. But seriously, one of my favorite parts, and I don't know really why, but this is gonna stick with me forever, is when you find Cade after you've released him, and he's playing hide and seek with you, and his ghost pops up. He reaches up and he's like, no. He pulls him back down, and then you see his head go, boop, and like, oh my god, I lost it when that happened, and it was just like, I'm like, that is so Cade. Like that is just so Cade. And then like, because right before it, he was talking about how the Fallen were coming for the horn on his head. They said something about taking my horn, my beautiful horn. I was like, yes.
Which is actually, did you know that's a you've seen Firefly, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's a throwback to one of the lines that he had.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's good, right? That's somebody.
Well, because like, and I think it's more of a nod. Nathan Fillion, everything he does has a throwback to Firefly. Like, there was
in one shape or form.
Right, because there was Castle where he dresses up as Mal. In Destiny, there was a like he like, if you stand, or one of his idle dialogues is like talking about the show Firefly, and then oh, my cotton socks.
Oh gosh,
I love it. So
it's good. It's so good. Was there anything that you were like, I'm not the biggest fan of as far as mission goes?
Not that really stands out to me just yet. I don't like not having a sparrow. It makes
you get that. Like if you get a sparrow on your characters, you can equip it on a lower level character if you start a different one.
Right.
I agree. There's some of the missions were really too long to not have a sparrow.
Yeah,
I felt it was like Lord of the Rings long.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, God, what am I in Morrowind? Like, like Jesus, it's not that bad, because Jesus, no. that game was terrible for travel speed. But yeah, that's like my only thing, because like Destiny, I think it was like the second mission you got the sparrow back. I mean, and it makes sense, like from a story perspective, it makes sense. But that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is like just not having my sparrow. Just because I like my sparrow. I found a way around that. I just steal the interceptors. I'm like, or the pike. Well, I haven't run into pikes just yet, but I've run into plenty of interceptors, so I just steal those. I'm like, fine, you're not going to give me my freaking sparrow? I'll take one of yours.
Did you do the mission, the little side adventure where you have to over with the interceptors?
Where you have to what?
You have to run them over with the interceptor.
No, I have not.
It's on the European Dead Zone. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It was a good little mission.
Though I do like the introduction to vehicles. I think that the mission where I think it's Utopia, I believe, was the one on Titan, where you get the car that it literally has no guns. So my brother and I were playing, and we were like, we're just going to drive through everything. We doubled back because there were walls that we missed, and we're like, we're going to run them over. I was like, that was a lot of fun. I really like the PvE. I think they knocked it out of the park, and that was, I remember talking to everyone about the beta, and everyone's like, oh, you're kind of negative about it. I'm like, you're asking someone who doesn't play PvP to give you feedback on a beta that is 95% PvP. Like, I mean, and I tried to preface that when I was giving feedback. It's like, look, I hate betas. I'm always rough on betas. Mostly because I understand why you're doing betas. It's not for gameplay. It's for system stress testing, which is why I participate in them. because I'm ultimately, I view it as, this is not for me to enjoy necessarily as much as me to make sure that the game that comes out is as good of condition as it can be. Which is a weird way to look at a beta. I understand that, but that's just the way I look at betas. And my problem with betas is because of there being network stress testing, of course they're going to be more oriented towards PvP, because that's your heavy network connections. Like, that's when you have those network connections. And I'm just not, if it's not, I'll be blunt. If it's not Halo, I'm really not interested in the PvP. Like, I'm not. I've never really been. Halo for me is my default PvP setting.
Right.
So, I mean, most people know that about me. So,
I think as far as like my favorite missions, somebody in chat, I think it was Pens, said that their favorite were the subclass missions. I actually love the story in the subclass missions. I thought especially that the Gunslinger, and I know not everybody's played Gunslinger, but I thought Gunslinger was kind of lackluster in the actual fight.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The thing with the Gunslinger one was that I didn't realize until like the last half exactly how to use the pillar. I thought the pillars would disappear, so I didn't stay in them. So pro tip, if you're doing the subclasses, stay in the freaking pillar, because it doesn't go anywhere and you get an endless super. I didn't realize that. I thought it was like, because like in the Arc Strider one, the first one, they were temporary. They moved around. They moved around, and they vanished, and they moved around. And I thought that was going to be the same for the Gunslinger. So that was, for me, was kind of like the confusing thing. I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but so like I'm expecting the Night Stalker to be a little bit smoother, because I kind of know that mechanic now.
Right.
But yeah, I can see. I don't know. I think it was more about just practicing, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's just, you get the first mission with the Arc Strider, and it's just intense.
Oh my god, I love it.
But Gunslinger was not, I don't know if it just wasn't difficult enough, because I know how Gunslinger works, because I've already played Gunslinger for years, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where I was just like, the story was good, but the fight wasn't quite what I wanted it to be.
I got my throwing knife back, so I don't care what you say.
Yeah. So
I was like, I unlocked that, and I was like, I'm back! I got it! I might have been really excited for that one.
Something that I really like. I like the fact that they don't have the factions available yet. I actually love that fact.
I mean, it's not like I don't know which faction I'm going to, so...
Right. But here's the thing that is also fun, is in the tower, there's scannables all over the tower, and they're not always in easy places to get to. Like, I had to crawl on pipes to get to a few of them, because they're like hiding places for Amanda Holiday, or somebody else likes to go take, I can't remember who it was. There was another one that was on pipes that was not Amanda, that they were out in, like, it's their secret spot or their hidey spot.
Oh, that's cool.
And they also talk about all the different factions. Like, they talk about how Dead Orbit is like moody, I can't remember exactly, it was like moody poets type thing. Which I went, yep, pretty much.
Fine, fair enough. I'll take it.
But some of the different touches they put on the tower, like there's a giant traveler orb that you can knock around like a little bouncy ball.
Oh yeah, have you seen the
video
video of all the Guardians sacrificing themselves to keep it in the air?
No.
Oh my god, awesome. It's hilarious. So I guess I don't have access to the wall, but I guess there's a place that it, like, I don't know even how to explain it, but there's like two overhangs over an empty space with a bridge or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess someone was playing with the big traveler ball, and they knocked it over the empty air, and so it started falling. And like, it looks like every single Guardian in the social space just starts coming out of the woodwork. They're jumping off, and they're dying. Like, they're sacrificing themselves. But every time one of them jumps off, it bumps the traveler ball back over.
That's a perfect analogy for what we do.
It's just like I can't even remember. It's like 45 seconds of this just absolute nonsense of them just like there's got to be like like 6 or 8 guardians that are just like chain suiciding to get this ball back up onto the whatever, the overhang patio. I was like that is so accurate.
Another one that I really, really like is the fact that you can call your ship out and it's your ship and it looks exactly like your ship does in orbit, but you can call it out of the hangar.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Uh-huh. And then you can play soccer in the tower. You can also...
Oh, you can play soccer in the tower or just in the farm?
Mm-hmm. You can play it in the tower. It's in the hangar.
Oh,
and you knock the ball off of the wall or in the tower, off the tower, and at the end of it, you get real fireworks instead of flares.
Hey, look, we're making do with what we have, okay?
Plus, there's giant flaps that you can activate that are in the middle of the playing field, which the playing field is like twice the size of this. And you activate the flaps and it just this giant... It reminds me of like if a bridge was going up because a boat was going under it.
Oh,
that's
God.
What it looks like.
So it's like the fan from the original tower. Oh, that's hilarious.
There's lots of little things.
The PvE aspect, I think they cranked it up to 11, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I know that might not be everyone's thoughts, but for me, this really kind of just was like, this is what I was hoping for. As far as like from a game mechanic standpoint, I mean, and like I said, earlier in the episode, I think any of my, I guess you could call them complaints, any of those are really just quality of life stuff that I could totally see being, I'm not going to say easily patched in, but able to be patched in, like,
right.
A configuration of UI on the map, a configuration of UI on the menu. That's really my big things.
I think another aspect that they did as far as the PvE really, really well, they made the game feel like a world instead of a game.
Yes.
And that sounds kind of weird to say, but it's in the fact that, yes, everything that you do comes from a patrol mission standpoint, pretty much. All your missions, all your quests, they start in patrol and you get into them from there, which makes it feel like it's an actual event happening rather than these episodes, like 30-minute Will and Grace episodes that we're trying to complete. But
I agree. Yes, I totally got it in there. Got it in there. One more point and I win, I think. Where'd the ball go? Did they already steal it? Oh, sad day.
Uh-huh.
This is the most distracting thing about being in a social space is that it actually is fun to play with, like it's not just a purple ball that randomly rolls around, which, I mean, rip purple ball, but still, I mean, like,
I can't wait until you do the floor is lava thing in the tower.
Oh, God.
Because, the thing that you did for this, I can't remember, is like the sentry? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the scouting commander.
Scouting commander. Like, you do the same thing in the tower, but it's called the floor is lava.
Yes.
Like, the thing that I've gotten out of all the raid and like the things in PvP and the PvE is that they literally took their favorite games from when they were children and put it into the game somehow. Soccer, tic-tac-toe, floor is lava. I mean, all the fun little ones that you played when you... And they just incorporated it some way, shape, or form. And I love that.
I'm just waiting for Wizard's Chess. Guardian Chess.
Oh, yeah, that would be kind of cool.
That would be very interesting, actually.
I need to actually watch the raid because I have not been able to focus on it so much because I can't bring it up on my computer at work. And so I have my phone. I got YouTube Red and downloaded a couple different raid runs and just listened to it because sometimes they say things that's like, oh, okay, I got to go find out what that is. But I don't see what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. So you're not spoiling it for yourself?
Kind of. Like, I kind of know the concepts behind each of the different steps rather than, I guess, challenges. Because there's one challenge called the Gauntlet, and there's a thing with fans, and there's a thing with dogs, and there's like a tic-tac-toe thing. But yeah. Oh yeah. Purple Ball is back, by the way.
It's okay. Rip OG Purple Ball. But I mean, I think that's a pretty good summary of our first reactions, and I know Pin's kind of knocked it out of the park with the email. As far as I really think that this is like I said, I think that they are going in the right direction. I think there's a few quality of life things that I would like to see that I know a couple other people have made comments about. But the thing about quality of life adjustments is that's exactly what they are. They're quality of life adjustments. They're not like game breaking. It's not like, oh God, it's gonna splinter the world because, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Because the Sun Singer is breaking things again.
So here's something that I am both excited and terrified to do. I am terrified to do our next episode, which I know is in 2 weeks, not instead of next week because of your work thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have been recording like crazy. Like every time I get on everything I do, because of I don't know what topic we're talking about.
Because I won't know yeah, I think we're doing. It looks like right now World Lore. I think was last time I looked. It was World Lore, the introduction to the World Lore, which would be a cool. I think that would be a good first topic.
That's a pretty just like where they came from type thing, or like what happened.
Just like originally? intro to like what's going on with them, why they're significant in the game. Like really basic intro stuff. Like what is IO? What is Titan? Mm-hmm. What is Nessus? Other than horse people.
Did you hear about NASA crashing?
Yes. In Cisnia. I can't remember.
The ship that they had up there forever, and that the reason they crashed it is because it ran out of fuel, and they didn't want it to run into any of the planets that could possibly house life to contaminate them.
Yeah, and they wanted a closer look at the Dreadnought.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, obviously, I know what's really going on.
Titan was one of them. Titan was.
Oh, really? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Titan and Europa, I can see that
type things.
But yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, I'm looking forward to it. If you guys have stuck around, definitely suggest. I know this is a weird thing coming from me, because I swore for the longest time I wasn't going to get one, but this Prima guide, it has some really, really fun little tidbits. I've been pleasantly surprised with the information, and it's mostly tactics. Like it's not. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a lore Bible, not by any means. But there's a few little tidbits in it that are really kind of cool, and I think that's really awesome. It also has a list of every single base weapon. So, keep that in mind.
A fun thing is that if you buy the Prima guide, a physical copy, you can get a digital copy for free.
Yes, the collector's edition, I think. I don't know if you get the regular one. Because there's the paperback one and then there's the hard copy or hardback one.
It's a hardback one that you can get the.
Yeah, I know, and that's the one that I got with a big picture of Bife on it.
Yeah, me too. It's like he's following us.
I know. It's really, really disturbing. I'm giving him grief for it. But yeah, so I guess that brings us to our final comments and our shout outs. Like I said, I really appreciate everyone letting us kind of do this episode, because it's, one of those freeform episodes. I know we usually focus more on what you guys want to talk about, but I really, really wanted a chance, and it gave me an excuse to kind of push myself to go play it. So I appreciate that. Green, what about you? What shout outs do you have for us?
My shout outs this week there's two of them.
and they're both to two different people. One being my wife, because she's actually let me play every night that I've gotten home from work. And
nice. We appreciate it.
And I've been good, and I've been going to bed by like 9 or 10, depending on the evening. So she's been really sweet about that. So shout out to Julie on that one. And then my second shout out is to Mr. Penn's Halo for being our kind of heading up a lot of the things that are going on. And I know Blue's probably going to talk about that a little bit here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Mr. Special Man himself. Oh, and I guess I have a third person. And to Rhino 666, who sent me an awesome hunter dagger that my apartment complex did not let me know I got in the mail. So he was out, and he's like, "Did you get it?" Or like, he sent pens after me, like, "Did you get the thing?" I was like, "What thing?" I was like, "Did you get the package?" I was like, "I don't know what package you're talking about." And he's like, "It's from Rhino." I was like, "Oh, I know what package you're talking about." But apparently my apartment doesn't alert me when it gets packages for me. If it's from...
That's always fun.
Yeah, that's really annoying because United States Postal Service, they don't leave a little note on your door, unlike FedEx and whatnot. But I have this amazing glow-in-the-dark green hunter knife that I have been like threatening my TV screen, patting it in my hand randomly. And 2 little bullets, which are fun to actually kind of gnaw on because I have an oral fixation, but that's another psychological issue that I have. Anyway, what's your shout outs, Blue?
Twitter. So we'll be announcing. Obviously, we don't know what the topic is until the end of the poll for this weekend. But I will be posting that over on Twitter, and then of course we'll be putting it up in Discord. I promise I will actually get the bot updated. I apologize for everyone who was kind of confused this week because I forgot to update it. But we will get that all updated. So just keep an eye out on Twitter and Discord if you're not in either one of those places. We have those links over on our website, which is just focusfirechat.com. But yeah, it's really, I mean, I'm just a really big shout out to both Damo and Pins. They're both our new community managers. Big thank you to them. Rhino, not for a knife, but actually he is kind of taking on a little bit more of the leadership, the Gunters. So Rhino is going to be kind of your Gunter vanguard, if you will. And so he's going to kind of take that on a little bit, and we really appreciate that. That's an immense help.
I'm going to do mind maps. I have to have something to pull from, and you guys are much better at organizing and pulling things together. I have stuff pulled together, but it's not organized yet. So good on you. And yeah, everyone's been really good on like reporting things. And if you have stuff that you're supposed to report, make sure you get into the Dropbox. Get Rhino your email so you can get access to the Dropbox so you can put stuff in there. If you're in the Gunter group, Gunters, I'm calling you out a little bit.
No, yeah, and if you're interested in joining those Gunters, please let us know in the Discord. We will get you added into that group. And like Green's saying, they're very good at introducing the idea, walking you through the process, and everything like that. I mean, it's pretty amazing watching all that come together. But let's run through the outro real quick, and then I imagine we'll probably stay for a little bit of an after show. But Here we go. With that, we'll begin to wrap the chat up. Thank you again to those over on Twitch for coming to spend your evening with us. If you'd like to join us for a live streaming of the episode each week, please be sure to give us a follow over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. Links to all our other sites can also be found with our episode archives over on the new and improved www.focusfirechat.com. Please be sure to email us at focusfirechat@gmail.com with any feedback or questions for our team concerning the podcast. And please, please, please let us know how we're doing by giving us some feedback on iTunes as well. Also, make sure to check out our partner podcast within the Guardian Radio Network over on theguardiansofdestiny.com. So, until next time, focus your fire and may your light shine bright.